Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the Casio G-Shock Master of G Gulfmaster GWNQ1000-1A, and I'm just going to call it the Gulfmaster for short, even though there are a few versions of the Gulfmaster. This is the highest end of the Gulfmasters, and it's a very different looking type of G-Shock. As a Master of G model, this is among the higher end G-Shocks. And what does that mean? Well, for the first thing, it means that it's produced in Japan as opposed to the more accessible G-Shock models that are often assembled in Thailand. Nothing wrong with that, but the Japanese assembly is just that much more precise and high grade. This is the first Gulfmaster to have a sapphire crystal. You don't see that very often, so the durability of a sapphire crystal is there. And this is also the first quad sensor G-Shock. Quad sensor, what does that mean? Well, in addition to the barometer / altimeter, thermometer, and compass, it has a depth gauge as well, which is really cool. And on the back of the watch, you can see these little slits right here, and that is where water enters for the depth gauge. You see sensors here, opening for sensors here as well. This is one of Casio's analog digi watches, which means it has a digital screen there. It has a couple of analog hands. And to operate it, there are 4 pushers around the case as well as their smart access crown. This watch took a while for me to sort of take a liking to, and I think that's because it was just so different looking in the G-Shock collection. I'm just used to a very different theme. But I ended up really liking this, and one of the reasons is it's very legible. The Gulfmaster is not really their diving watch. It's more like their ocean extreme activity professional. And I think like the archetype job that Casio had in mind for the type of individual that wear this watch is maybe some type of Coast Guard rescue, or someone that needs to rescue other people in some type of dangerous ocean environment where you're mostly out of water, but you're somewhat in water, and there's a bunch of variables you need to track. So this watch, like most modern high-end G-Shocks, does a bunch of stuff and does a lot of it well. Of course, the dial is really focused on the time, and people that mainly want the time and like analog dials are probably going to like this a lot. There's a lot of luminant on the hands and hour markers. Of course, there's a backlight as well. That was not the backlight button. Where's the backlight button? There's the backlight button. So there's 2 backlights. There's one for the screen, and there's one LED down here that illuminates the dial. In addition to the time, you have a hand down here, which is mostly used for barometric pressure stuff, where it shows ups and down trend, as well as a tide chart, which is quite cool. So functionally, you have a bunch of stuff. So let's put the tide chart right here. This is set for Los Angeles, so right now we would be in a high tide. And you can use the pushers here to advance time back and forth. I love how fast all the hands move and things like that. I always find that very well. Very well done how Casio does that. Actually, the second hand is carbon fiber. There you have sunrise, sunset, stopwatch, timer, alarm. It is radio controlled. So that means that this watch receives signals from the atomic clocks. It's a 6-band, I believe. It also has a tough movement, which means the hands can realign themselves if subject to a lot of shock. And of course, always this is as always a solar-powered watch, so it's powered by light. As you know, with most Casio watches that are of this quality, the whole point is to set it and to utterly forget it. You never have to set the time. You never have to worry about a battery or anything like that. In order to get to the other functions, you'll have to push a different button here. So and I just started the stopwatch. These watches are just honestly sometimes fun to play with. So I put in the depth mode right here. Of course, I'm not underwater. But you can see what happens actually is the hands will move out of the way. It realizes I'm not underwater. Some diving watches like the Frogman automatically detect when you're underwater, whereas a watch like this, you'll need to say you're underwater. Here's the compass function. And you can see how that seconds hand there doubles as the compass indicator. This is one of the newer generation sensors, so it's a lot faster and more precise, and it will track for, I think, about a full 60 seconds before it moves back to the normal time mode. And it does that as a battery saving measure. I really like how comfortable this particular G-Shock is. The Gulfmaster is, I would say, a little bit smaller than your standard big Master of G G-Shock. It's 48 millimeters wide. You know, obviously there's a black resin construction, but the inner part of the watch is all metal. This blue bezel is nice. I kind of feel like there's a little bit of a missed opportunity to use it for something else, because this scale here is really for the tracking barometric pressure, which if you do all the time, then you're going to love it. But someone like me that lives in mostly temperate, well, I live exclusively in a temperate place, but I travel to mostly temperate places, I don't always need to worry about the barometric pressure. What's cool is when I've been in places that are slightly more weather active, there's a barometric pressure alarm that just goes off when the barometric pressure is either rising or falling quickly, and that's kind of an interesting thing. If you don't know what the alarm is, you'll stare at your watch and be like, why is it beeping? There'll probably be some type of indicator, but there's just a lot to learn about a timepiece like this. It's very well done. For the money, you're getting a truly excellent time.
To be appreciated.
And my Siri on my phone decided that it heard me. That was really funny, actually. I don't know why it does that. Anyways, this is the Casio G-Shock Master of G Gulfmaster GWNQ1000. This is the -1A model. Comfortable as hell. Does pretty much everything you want. Style is, like I said, a little bit different than many of the high-end G-Shocks out there, but I've come to like it a lot, especially because it's so analog and slightly different looking with its marine theme than most of the other G-Shocks out there. This is the higher end version of the Gulfmaster, and the price is $850, and you can see more on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.